but I just hold on to the good moments and the great shows, and let those sink in those moments. And I love that when people meet me after the show, they meet me, and it's the same thing. And I just get to be myself. I don't have to practice to be this character or this person. When I have, like what you were saying about full circle, I love that when a kid runs up to me after the show, it's not like they just saw, their a Disney character or a character in a movie. They saw a person and they get to meet this person and they
Yeah.
can be like that person if they want. It's not like this princess or this fairy tale or this superhero that'll be like, I'd love to be a superhero. I'm a magician and a human and I'm relatable and familiar. And if a kid sees me do something and they dream about it, it's something that's possible. When they meet me after that show, I'm possible for them, and I like that, if that makes sense.
No, I love that. I love that you've started to understand that sense of maturity and understanding that a lot of times it's people might say some negative stuff, but that's on them. They're just a dickhead. You're always going to get people who troll and badmouth and all that. But most
Yeah.
people are so into the act and the presence and enjoyment of it that a lot of times it's because you've practiced it 10,000 times. You know that, well, my could have been slightly faster, that hide that better, or whatever. Most people are kind of just blown away by the act, the ambience and that you're creating. And I mean, I remember listening to one interview you did where you talked about how you evolved as a person and how you then
Mhm.
put that into the act. So as you grew and matured yourself, your act matured as well. And I love that you can even talk and think in those terms rather than I'm sticking to my act and
Yeah.
I panic if not. How do you think you've evolved by over these years? Because I've watched some of your shows when you're obviously just starting to where you are now. Your stage presence throughout, even at such a young age, was terrifyingly good. You seem to just own the room no matter what you did. But how do you think you've grown as a person?
I think who I've been on stage has always been pretty in line with where I was in life and what I was doing, and so while I may look back at clips from me when I was starting and cringe, and not I could watch a clip of me a year ago and barely get through it because, you don't love watching yourself speak or perform a lot of the times. But it was where I was at the time, and I hit that mark on the head pretty well, and I've always been able to do that, I think, and I like that, and it always pushes me to go further. And when I push myself to go further in my career and become a better performer, it is how do I enhance who I am as a person, because I have to give the audience more. I have to be this next version of performer that I want to be. And that is a direct correlation to me. So where do I go as a human being, in my core to get to that level? It's not just what's the next great trick I can do or what's the next great script I can write. It is how do I share myself as a human being with a room full of people and connect in a better way? And that's got me constantly thinking and evolving and becoming a better person
Hmm.
and changing into different stages of my life, with my career following hand in hand. And I love that. It's an interesting perspective to put on myself.
Because it's remarkable to have that at such a young age. But when you are doing these things, I mean, you have this unique way of dealing with hecklers, with drunk people and stuff like that, and you're able to have that level of enthusiasm in 6 shows, 8 shows a day, and all these kind of things. But do you think performers can only learn these sort of nuances? Because anybody can learn tricks, but it's your way of
Mhm.
the displaying it and selling it to the crowd and all the wee nuances in your act. Do you think that comes from experience, or are people born with that? Can it be really learnt? The soft skills compared to the hard tricks.
Yeah, I think it's a mix.